Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Easy Happy Hour session. For the past few Mondays, we have been covering the Easy webinar series, and now we will continue with the Easy Happy Hour session until the end of June. Today's session is site-specific tweaks with host injections. Maybe this is something we didn't really cover in the Easy webinar sessions because it's a bit complicated. But I thought it could be a good subject for today. We are in a topic series of easy mix and match because we will see different topics in the upcoming Mondays until the end of June. And before starting, I would like to remind you that this session is being recorded, and at the end of the session, we will be stopping the recording for more informal conversations. As highlights for today's session, and as usual, I would like to make notice for some upcoming events. So there is the ISC 2026 conference in Hamburg. It's taking place between the 22nd and the 26th of June. Also, there is the Euro HPC User Days 2026, and it's taking place between the 22nd and the 24th of September in Dublin, Ireland. And definitely, the Easy team and Easy members will be available in both events and covering different subjects. To proceed with, so today's session is about,
Richard, one small thing to add actually to this.
yep.
Um, the user days will probably again organize an easy hackathon as well on the Friday. So
Mhm.
the 23rd, 25th, whatever. Whatever the Friday is. It's not set in stone yet, but when it is set in stone, we'll announce that. So people who are interested may want to keep this into account after booking travel and so.
Okay, and if we fix the date by before the end of June, we will add this to the happy hour sessions highlights so that everyone will get notice.
We'll probably send an email to the mailing list and at least mention it in Slack as well.
Mhm. So today's session, we will be covering the easy host injections. A quick look. So the easy host injections is a variant symlink. It is more well described in the easy documentation. I will be showing this at the end. It is by default points to slash opt easy, and it can be modified using the host injections variable in the CVMFS client configuration. It has several usages. Basically, we use it to tune or override Easy MPI's library with an ABI compatible host MPI. We also use it in Easy 2023-06 to install the CUDA drivers. But for today's session, we will be only focusing on the MPI library part. So for this, I would like to run, as usual, in the Easy Happy Hours, a live demo trying to explain what the main issue is, or the main issue could be when you run Easy on different systems, where specifically I will show today when you have a slingshot interconnect, which Easy is not well designed to cope with that, and definitely give more explanation. So this is a system. I already reserved two nodes. So if I do, let me first load easy ML module load easy 2025-06. And
Your screen is not visible, Richard.
my screen is,
Yeah, we are not seeing the correct
oh, sorry.
screen. Yeah.
I will try to share again. Is it better now? Can you see my screen?
Yeah, good. Thanks.
Yes.
Okay. So as you can see, I loaded the easy module. I will do module veil OSU because I will be showing basically all the configuration or additional settings which I have done on OSU. So if I do module load OSU, because I need just as a start to show you that I'm running on two nodes. So if I do MPI run minus N2 minus N2 and host name. So as you can see, I'm running on two nodes. And the next thing I will show you is that if I do ls minus lisa slash cvmfs software easy.io, you can see that the host injections is pointing to cluster installations easy defaults. And as mentioned, this is a symlink, so it's a variable which is set in the host configuration, and it will point to the cluster installations, whatever you choose. So here I set it to point to cluster installations easy defaults. The next thing I would like to show you that if I do readelf minus d, which also bandwidth, let me pass this. Okay. So the interesting thing we do in Easy is that we inject an RPath. As you can see here, before it executes the OSU bandwidth or the binary, we have injected those RPath, which point to CVMFS, softwareis.io, host injections, which we mentioned, and then it continues with the Easy version, which is 2025-06, software, then the architecture, which is x86-64 in this case, then Zen4, then the RPath overrides OpenMPI system lib, and also the same for lib64. And then it continues with the other RPath. This means that if I want to inject an OpenMPI library in this specific location, it will try to load the libraries from there before continuing with the other path. And I will show you exactly where I have injected my OpenMPI library. So if I do ls minus lisa lib, you can see that I have different versions. During configuration, I did this, but what I'm using, in fact, is the last one, which is libmpi.so.40. And if I do lib, as you can see, it will try, I will try to go with less again. Try to show you where, yeah. So for example, if you can see here, is trying to load libcxi from cluster installations x86, which is different than CVMFS. And also, for example, the lib fabric. I will cover this at a later stage. I'm just showing you that with my injection, I will be using different libraries, which I have built and installed specifically in this location to be used with Easy Software Stack. So my system has an Slingshot 11 interconnect, and what we deliver or ship with Easy is OpenMPI with different versions based on the toolchain we're using. OpenMPI with Easy is built with libfabric and with UCX. But for Slingshot 11 to work, it needs a specific version of libfabric because we use there something called the LNX. I will not go deep into details, but as a summary, we need a libfabric version 2.x and above. So what I did is I built OpenMPI, which is compatible with the OpenMPI version that is already shipped with Easy for the tool chains in 2025-06, and with different libraries, with different libfabric and specific configuration. And then I injected the libmpi.so.40 into the Easy stack as explained through the host injections. So for now, I will just show you module list, as I already loaded the OSU micro benchmarks. So if I run now, I will try to run OSU micro benchmarks without my injection first. So in order to override what I already injected or will be injecting, I will use the LD preload so that I override what I built there in the host injections. For this, if I do which mpicc, because I want to copy this path and use the libmpi.so.40 from there. So if I do LD preload and lib and libmpi.so.40, and then I will run mpi run minus n2 minus n2 OSU bandwidth, for example, and let's see what happens. So at the first run, I saw that it was able to run and it fetched the host names, but now I can see that I'm facing different errors. No components were able to be opened, PML, which is basically related to the libfabric, and so on and so forth. But if I use my build OpenMPI and the libmpi.so.40, so I will try to remove the LD preload totally and run again the MPI run. Basically on this system, I prefer using the S run, but let's see, could be that the MPI run also works. So if I do MPI run, yes, as you can see, I can run the OSU bandwidth with a full bandwidth of 24,000, which is the full speed of the slingshot between the two systems, between the two nodes, sorry. And also if I do the latency, and let me add a minus I so that I can minus I 10. Maybe it's just before minus in the end. 10. And this is the latency. As you can see, it also is making use of the full lib fabric on the system from my OpenMPI and the slingshot. If we want to go a step further without going too detailed in what's happening, so if I do LD debug equal libs, just to show you that it is loading my OpenMPI, and if I do to greater than 1 t debug.log, if I go now less debug.log and libmpi.so.40, I can see that it is trying to search CVMFS, host injections, software, and my location for the OpenMPI, which I built. And as you can see here, it should be showing that it is using the libmpi from host injections. So with this, we can easily use the stack, software stack that's provided from EESSI, and inject a specific host injection MPI in the host injections to make use of our interconnect. Now, this is an extreme case. In other cases, we just need to load a specific library instead of rebuilding the whole OpenMPI. But I thought this could be a useful use case to show, because there I will also show the two blog posts we posted earlier on using EESSI on Slingshot systems. But we covered the CUDA usage, and here I'm showing that it is also able to run on x86 64 nodes with full advantage of the Slingshot. So I hope this met your expectations, and I hope I'm still sharing my screen. Again, I I guess it has discontinued the sharing, so I will stop and share again. For some reason, I'm facing this issue. Okay, so as you can see, this is easy documentation for the host injections. This here we explain how to use the host injections, and as mentioned, it by default points to OPT easy. And also it explains how to use the variable in the configuration to point. Just note that when you set this in the configuration, you have to reload the client configuration so that it makes use of it. And another thing, there were different trials to make things easier for users who would like to inject in OpenMPI host injections with libraries, local bit libraries. So there were different attempts. In case you are interested, you can look into those pull requests and follow what trials have been made and different approaches. For example, here, as you can see, we're trying to inject the lib fabric, not the whole OpenMPI, to make use of the local lib fabric. And another thing I wanted to show is the blog posts that I mentioned. I hope I'm still sharing my screen. Yes, it's working. So if you go to blog, and for example, this is the latest we added in the blog post. So here you can see that this is the system I'm running on, and I'm showing the x86 partition now, while the blog post covers the NVIDIA with Grace GPUs. And you can see that with applying changes to the OpenMPI and injecting it through host injections, and even with CUDA, device-to-device communication, we are achieving really good performance, which is really comparable to the Cray environment. So this is what I wanted to show today, and let me go to the full screen again. And in case you missed this, so we are covered this, and next week we will be covering the AMD ROCm support in Easy. There has been also set good efforts in trying to cover, we currently cover the CUDA with the different driver versions and different families in CUDA. But there are good efforts also done to cover AMD ROCm in Easy. Next week, a colleague will be giving highlights of all the efforts done and where we reached up till now. If anyone would like to ask questions, feel free. Just remind you that we're still recording.
I have a quick question. How difficult would it be for somebody that has access to Olivia or another Cray system like Lumi to reproduce what you did and get similar results? What would they need to keep an eye out for?
So it's again based how deep they want to go with the configuration. So if they just want to make use of the slingshot, no, it's easy. So everyone is welcome to reach us, and we can definitely help. So what they need is the lib fabric, and they build OpenMPI and just inject that. If they want to go further, for example, with the latest trials I did, I am already using the XP mem from the system. So that requires a bit more effort. But again, if anyone would reach out, so we can definitely help. This is for the x86 or nodes without CUDA. With CUDA, it also requires a bit more details. And specifically here, there has been good efforts from our colleague Alan, where we are using a different approach. Maybe we can also show you that. while building or injecting the OpenMPI in our path. So if we go to easy software layer scripts, and I will also try to explain why we're doing that. So if we go to this PR, we can see that we are trying to inject host injections based on the tool chain and also based on the CUDA version used. And that is because, for example, in my case, when I build OpenMPI and bind it to a specific CUDA version, we might or might not run into unknowns using different CUDA versions from different toolchains in Easy. And this makes things much more fixed and clear per toolchain per CUDA version. This is not yet applied in the current Easy, but for example, in my case, I'm already applying it in local builds, specifically the CUDA builds. Yes, Alan? It's happy hour, so anyone can comment. Feel free.
No, well, I was curious. Now I'm curious, but I have another comment. But now I'm curious about that. So does that work? Does it
Yes,
work?
yes, it really,
Yeah, it
it
does
really
work.
works. Yeah.
Okay, so that's worth the blog post
I,
and so. Okay,
I guess
that's good.
I put some, I did comment or no?
No,
Oh, I
no
forgot to
comment.
comment. I'm sorry. Yeah. Because I'm really using it. I'm building software on top of Easy with different CUDA. For example, for 2024A, and I'm also using 2024B, which are different CUDA versions. 2024A uses 12.6, while 2025B uses 12.9.1, and it works really good.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And just the comment I wanted to make was just about XP-Men.
Mhm.
And the reason I want to make it is because it's a little bit dangerous. You have to know what you're doing when you include XP-Men, right?
Yeah,
Because XP-Men is installed on the system
true.
in default locations. So in like from the operating system. And so you kind of have to find a way of extracting it from there, because if you do an RPath inclusion of that location, you're
Mhm.
getting the host operating system, right? So you have to be careful. I don't know how you dealt with this in reality, but I can see it.
Any more questions? Although, like, mm, since no questions, we can discuss further. Just be cautious. Yes, Kenneth.
Well, keep going. I can ask my question after
Okay.
if you have something else to say.
Just be cautious for something. So, as I said, I'm using the pull request which Alan made for the host injections. But that also has it fires back in one place because it has host injections for example, when I build software, I inject the OpenMPI. So if the OpenMPI, which I'm injecting, doesn't involve CUDA, and I inject the same OpenMPI in the dependencies without CUDA for a CUDA software, it might pick up the OpenMPI and the libraries which are not intended to the CUDA one. So if you use the latest PR that Alan made, make sure that you clean up or at least not set whatever not needed in the dependency one. So maybe I will try to show again. So for example, in the OSU we saw, but again, this is so advanced, but since we have time and it's a happy hour session, so if I go to again read elf, so as you can see here, even if I inject the one that is in the PR, but the dependency without CUDA will try to load this one, this OpenMPI in this location. So if I keep the OpenMPI, which I built earlier before the PR in this location, it might pick up the wrong CUDA stuff. Just be note that, take care, and if you apply that, try to remove this one, or at least without it, build it without the CUDA, since you don't need it, since the PR covers specifically the CUDA ones. Maybe Alan can confirm what I saw while trials.
No, I don't know. Yeah, I'm curious about what would happen there.
Yeah, so I saw that it picked up different CUDA because this was left in place.
Yeah.
So because it loads first the dependencies, so it loaded the dependency, it coded the CUDA version in the OpenMPI, and then it didn't use the latest PR, or the location of the latest location in the PR. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a load race. I don't know how you're going to get
Yeah.
around it. It's a load race.
It's easy, I guess, but the important thing is that whenever you use the new PR, then make sure that you don't inject CUDA libraries in this location.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm lucky that I have a system so complicated that I can try anything.
And that brings me
You
to the
could.
next question, which you
Yeah.
cannot try on Olivia, is how would this translate when using AMD GPUs?
Ah, no,
Does it become messier? Does it or and I'm running ahead of things because I guess Ayush will be talking about this next week, perhaps.
And Ayush is in a meeting, so maybe he wants to say something.
I don't want to spoil next
don't
week.
spoil the surprise for next week. But at least from my side, I have no idea how I would like treat this with Rockham. But I guess we should be able to figure out a way. I don't know.
Uh, should I spoil it or no? I guess I will. Because I tried to run all the experiments on Lumi, which has the gray MPitch, right? And I tried to do the host injections thing by loading into library path, but I tried to load Cray MPitch libraries into OpenMPI 5.0.7, and they are not ABI compatible. So yeah, that did not work. So I had to make the mpitch to mpitch library work. So then I built OSU with mpitch and then injected the Cray mpitch libraries, and it seemed to work.
You're spoiling it, Ayush. Keep it for
Uh,
next week.
I'll
I think,
save the details and the demo for the next one.
and I think one
He's
important
just making
difference.
sure that people will show up next week.
Yeah, and I think one important difference, Richard, is that there is a strong link between the toolchain and the ROCm version, right? So there's only one ROCm version per toolchain because there is a ROCm toolchain. There is no CUDA toolchain, right? So it's just FOSS with CUDA, and you could have multiple CUDA versions with the same toolchain. So I guess in that sense, that makes the CUDA case a little bit more complicated, maybe in terms of how you sort of separate out those host injections per toolchain and per CUDA version, right? Like one of the two would already be sufficient to split up the host injections for different ROCm versions.
Yeah. So maybe we can stop the recording, or you want to ask something recorded, Kenneth?
No, I think people should just come and check Ayush's stuff next week as well.
Yeah,
Should be
sure.
interesting.
So Rockham support in Easy is something relatively new. So we will see the progress next week. For now, I will stop the recording in case anyone would like to have some informal conversation or questions about Easy.